So after the photogrammetry session, the next stage was to 3D print all of the different segments. Now, it's not possible to 3D print such a huge sculpture, so she was cut into segments and each segment printed and then cast in bronze. And the next step is then to bring all those segments together and basically rebuild the Pilgrim Woman. It was quite strange seeing myself as a digital file. It was more strange actually coming face to face, because I knew I was going to be seeing her, and we was walking through the foundry, winding our way through all the different areas, and then we turned a corner and there she was in front of me, this huge statue. And it was quite a surreal experience to come face to face with yourself. You know, there's not many times in your life that you come face to face with your own face immortalised in bronze. So it was quite a strange experience to encounter her for that first time. Once I'd had a check over all of the different areas, the next stage is the patiner. And the patiner is the surface colour that's applied to the bronze. The pigments of colour are all ground into a powder and they're applied onto the surface of the sculpture. The surface of the metal heats up and the pigments adhere to the surface. And then a layer of beeswax is applied just to give that extra bit of protection. So we had a date in the diary for the Pilgrim Woman to make her way from the foundry, which is in Stroud, and travel all the way to Doncaster. We arrived and waited. It felt like forever, but then we saw this outline of a female figure on the back of this lorry, and just as they started to reverse alongside the museum, then the storm hit.
The Pilgrim Woman has arrived. She's under a green tarpaulin and securely fixed to the back of a lorry with a crane, and we're just waiting for that moment for her to be unveiled and for the crane to lift her off the back of the lorry so she can make her way into the building.
We all sat there with bated breath as the delivery team slowly worked on the female figure and was fastening the hoist, and much to all of our shock and horror, they fastened the hoist around the neck of the Pilgrim Woman. And we were all sort of whispering to each other, surely they're not going to lift her up by her head. But they did, and they explained that that was the perfect centre of gravity for the Pilgrim Woman, that she's almost as tall as she is long. So they needed to find the absolutely perfect spot to lift her from so that she wouldn't move about. So the moment came when they started hoisting her up, and true to their word, she did not budge. The wind was really picking up and the rain. We had complete faith in the team, but it was still a nail-biting moment watching as that crane swung the Pilgrim Woman, half-a-ton woman, you know, swinging round, waiting to be lowered down onto a pallet truck.
There's quite a little crowd of us here watching. We've all been waiting a couple of years now for this to happen.
The wind is howling, the rain is beating down, but she moved so serenely through the air and just gently lowered herself down onto the pallet, almost as gentle as a butterfly landing on a flower.
I'm standing here with Bill, and we've just been watching all the activity unfold. What do you think, Bill?
Heart-stopping moment, but really exciting. Given the storm that we've got around us, I'm sure she's probably used to being on rocky waters, but absolutely lovely to see her making her entrance into the building.
So the next stage is she's going to wind her way through the back of the building and into the freight lift. Then the double doors will open and she'll be inside the building.
Now, the new Danum Gallery was built on the site of an old building, and some of it they've retained. What's funny is the building used to be a school for girls, and the Pilgrim Woman was going to be installed in the old historic part of the building that the new building now wraps around. So the Pilgrim Woman is now in situ in the Danum Gallery, and it's the exciting bit. All the wrapping is being ripped off the surface, so they're starting with all the plastic layers. I can't wait to see the blanket come off and see the Pilgrim Woman. The blankets are slowly being peeled away from the sculpture, and the first thing we see is the apple peeking out from beneath the blankets. One of the elements of the original building was these arts and crafts style ceramic tiles. I asked if I could take one of these tiles so that we could match a patina for the sculpture against one of these tiles, and this builder handed me a brick. There weren't tiles at all. The ceramic was actually added onto the face of the brick. So I took a brick with me to the foundry so we could really colour match and get a really good patina that would work well with its new location. Seeing the Pilgrim Woman installed into the old footwell was just an amazing experience, to have her enter this brand new building but then almost be passing back through time as she enters into the old part of the building, the old school for girls.
So we push the whole thing from the front.
That's a really fitting place for her to be, and that connection between the local women that took part in the activities and their weaving is now featured on the dress, some of whom actually attended that very school.
Not too far pinch wise. No, seriously, the wood. That's it. Good.
Well done.
Made that look like hard work, didn't it?
Once the activity had died down and everybody had gone off doing their own thing, I was just stood in the building on my own, looking face to face at the sculpture. And it sort of made me think about this fantastic journey that I've been on over the last 4 years. I always knew there was going to be a sculpture for Doncaster right at the very beginning of my project, when I was setting sail and crossing the Atlantic, following in the footsteps of William Bradford and the separatists that went on board the Mayflower. And then to come back to England and use that combination of really ancient technology, which is the lost wax casting technique, but then combining that with state-of-the-art technology like photogrammetry and 3D printing, and then seeing her arriving in Doncaster. We've got this combination and this mixture of different times and periods and different technologies, and it's just been an amazing experience. And it still feels quite overwhelming when I stand there and look at her, to think, you know, that this is what I have done, this is what I've created, and I hope that people enjoy it for many years to come.